Hi, you already read the title, so let's talk. I want to specifically talk about Checkmate replacing OG, and I put replacing in air quotes because I've seen a couple things come out that's kind of made me interested in this whole ordeal, or this whole ordeal that I'm kind of confused on. I'm not entirely sure if like how much Checkmate's been playing tank. Obviously, the initial tweet from the Mayhem said that he's been playing it on ladder, but not gonna lie, when I checked it, kind of said he was only playing off tanks, but that's neither here nor there. But to, I guess, kind of elaborate on Checkmate, quote unquote, replacing OG, I'm thinking of a couple things, because one of the initial things that comes to mind when I looked at the tweets following up everything was OG's tweet saying BRB, and he, I believe, replied to Taimu or someone saying something along the lines of OG asked Checkmate to replace him. So that's something that I think is, it was in a very joking manner, so I can completely understand if I'm getting this wrong, but that's what I took from that maybe this is something OG asked for, instead of it being a Checkmate just started feeling like playing tank and that was it. But I have a couple different ways that I want to, I guess, bring this up and kind of think about it. And it's also worth mentioning, and I'll tie this into something else that I've thought of, that Checkmate, up to this point, his first match was against Toronto Defiant. That's his only match he's played. He only played on the Koth maps and only played Echo, Doom, and Reaper. Only played those because I feel like in any other sense, you just play Yaki BQB pretty much all the time, unless and this is something that the casters actually pointed out, was that if Yaki has to play Echo, which he very much can, you're then losing Yaki Tracer, as opposed to like sticking BQB on Tracer, which is kind of a waste, but it's neither here nor there. And the reason I bring any of this up is because I think and I've brought this up before, but I have a very like competitive heavy mentality in terms of when I was a player. I would think like if I got offered a substitute position on a team, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to take this spot, I'm going to figure out why the team likes the other people, adapt that to my play, and then I'm gonna go wild and I'm gonna start fucking replacing this kid. But how does that apply to Checkmate? I think this could be something that might just be a sign of like pure hunger, I guess, from Checkmate is the best way to put it, is that I believe Checkmate, if I'm correct in assuming this, I would think Checkmate maybe saw that maybe OG was having like mentality issues or something along the lines of that, where OG was falling short in some way, shape, or form, or was, I don't know, maybe talking about some like retirement. Completely just pulled that out of my ass. But if we're talking about someone who has been said to be a very competitive player and a very competitive person, I wouldn't put it past someone to be like, I will do whatever it takes to get playtime. And if people are like, hey, you know, I don't want to be like I don't want to, you know, slide you any hints or anything, but hey, if you can start getting good at main tank, and then like slides a little like note under the desk saying like, you got the spot, like, I would not put that past them, especially because of like, if I think me, along with the rest of basically anyone, that if you looked at the Mayhem lineup and saw like Checkmate, Yaki, BQB, you know, everyone in the lineup, but as soon as you saw Checkmate get picked up, you're like, okay, poor kid, you know, this guy's never getting playtime. You don't stick anyone in or field anyone over BQB, but they did play it smart, to give them credit. They did play him only when it was necessary and only when it worked, kinda. But I'm concerned because this might shake up the entire roster. Something that I've really loved up to this point, from the Mayhem especially, and I've mentioned it to so many people that I've watched back Mayhem games with or watched after a Mayhem game wins. I want you to go back and watch the video of Mayhem winning the spot to go to Hawaii, because something that I caught that was really interesting was the genuine emotion from OG, because as soon as they won that match, OG stood up, ran through everyone else's cameras and shit, and just started hugging everyone, and like was so genuine and happy and everything. And I can't say for the life of me whether he performed that day. I can't say for the life of me whether I think he's been performing in general at all. I don't think he's done anything stand out, but I don't think he's been griefing or anything. But I guess to digress all this, I don't know if this is entirely an OG thing or if this is Checkmate is just that hungry. And how different are we gonna see the Mayhem? Excuse me. But I only bring this up because if you have a main tank that's like, in my opinion, what that like hugging whatever thing, first off, I thought it was really cute. Second off, that shows a sign of leadership in my eyes, because I want to see someone on their team be like, man, I'm so fucking proud of all my guys, that let's, like, not exactly that means leadership, but that's something that I think that emotion shows the leadership of OG, and that's fine that they're kind of losing that if Checkmate can bring that. Because after last week, I believe Florida lost to both Toronto and Uprising, which both aren't terrible losses, but this is now something that could be an entire mental reset for them, in terms of if there were other people on the team that are maybe like, hey, I think OG's underperforming, maybe, or maybe he's having like mental health stuff going on, let's sub him out for a bit. And then fucking they were looking at who to pick up from like contenders, and Checkmate steps up before anything. I think that's something to think about. And even though I don't think you should set any mechanical expectations for Checkmate, I think this is a big turning point for Mayhem. Whether it's going to be for better or for worse is the question. But I've always said that I've always believed in having a BQB Yaki tank line, or not a tank line, but a BQB Yaki DPS line, of course. And I don't like how it kind of felt like they kind of shoehorned Checkmate in, kind of like forced him into the lineup during Koths. It wasn't as brutal as it could have been, but I think BQB Yaki as a DPS line is fine and didn't really need to be changed, because they've been with each other so long that they synergize well together in terms of like morale. You constantly have everyone on the up and up, instead of like, you know, maybe if you sub someone in, then it might be a little bit more rough. I can't say for sure, but I'm very happy with this move. I think this move could be big for Mayhem. Whether it will be, we have yet to see. But in general, I don't hate it. So with that being said, let me know what your opinion is on it in the comments, and I really want to get other people's like perspectives and see whether this is good or bad, or especially from like people that are fans of the Mayhem. I'm really interested in their take on. So with that being said, appreciate the fuck out of you for watching, and I'll see you when I see you. Later.